wouldn't it be something if I actually got to read all the upcoming releases that I say I want to actually read, you know? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video I just want to talk about 3 upcoming book releases in the month of January that I'm excited for and that I wanted to get to at some point in time, though now that I'm looking back on it, I've only read a couple of all the upcoming releases I've talked about since I started doing this a couple months ago, but I've been really encouraged lately with all the comments on the videos since I started up again. I keep saying, I take a month off and I go for a month, but this time I actually have a schedule planned out, so hopefully we'll stick to it. But yeah, I've been really encouraged with all the comments that people have been leaving, that you guys have been leaving about book recommendations and just kind of your thoughts on different things. So yeah, just keep doing that. I don't know, I just really like it. It's one of my favorite parts of the videos is definitely talking to you guys. So yeah, if you have an upcoming release, even if it's not in the month of January, leave it down below so I can go check it out as well. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I always bring my little book here so I don't forget all the names here. But the first one we got Masters of the Lost Land. I almost kept saying Masters of the Lost World, like Jurassic Park or something, but Masters of the Lost Land by Heriberto Araujo, I believe it is. And this is all about kind of a land conflict that goes on in the rural parts of the Amazon rainforest. I just think that's a really interesting topic. It's really sad just because it is probably, I can just imagine how lawless it sort of is out there. In the middle, we're talking about, rural Brazil in the rainforest. There could be one town and not have another one for another 100 miles or probably even more in some circumstances. And because of that, kind of like land barons that are trying to cut all the rainforest down and make cattle pastures and things like that. They have a lot of power, influence. They have all the money and stuff. But apparently this is kind of a story of the frontier border wars that kind of go on between indigenous tribes, kind of the local populace that kind of wants to have their rights asserted and stuff, and then the land barons that are kind of taking advantage of the situation and whatnot. And from what I understand, there was a really powerful union worker or union leader that was actually resisting a lot of the land barons, and he was assassinated. And then it kind of spirals out of control from there. It went pretty big, and I want to learn more about it. So it's kind of a history of kind of land usage in the rainforest, the Amazon rainforest. So with all my nature books and things like that I read, you kind of read a little bit about things like that, but I think this will help make it a little bit more personal and give some names to some of the stories kind of occurring there. And I think it is an important topic, just especially right now with the super conservative regime in Brazil, where protecting and conserving the rainforest really isn't a priority at the moment. So I think this is definitely a story that needs to be kind of told and heard and read about and whatnot. So hopefully I get to that one for sure. Next up, we got a history book, and it's The Cythian Empire by Christopher Beckwith. I read a book on the Scythians last year. Oh shoot, was it Barry Strauss or Barry Cunliffe? I think it was Barry Cunliffe. And it was actually pretty good. It was a little heavy on the archaeology aspects, which I do enjoy archaeology. I just don't want my whole book to be kind of archaeological stuff. But for those who don't know, the Scythians were a nomadic horse steppe people in the the mid-centuries BCE down to about kind of the era of Imperial Rome, where they kind of got assimilated with the Sarmatians and other kind of Germanic tribes and stuff. But yeah, they lived around the Pontic steppe area, so just north of the Black Sea, which would be kind of southern Russia and Ukraine, areas like that. But they're actually a really cool culture, just because we always talk about the classical world, the Greco-Roman civilization and stuff. But there were plenty of other peoples around there. We have Celts. You got the peoples of North Africa. You got the Near Eastern. The Seleucid Empire is it's Greek, but really it's actually kind of a Greek overlordship type thing. We're talking about the entire kind of Middle East there almost. And then you have the nomadic steppe people. You got the Parthians, the Scythians, the Massagetae, and stuff like that. But anyways, just kind of an interesting kind of different culture that I've only read that other one book about, so I'm hoping this one kind of refreshes some of that, just because I said I haven't read a lot of specific stuff, but maybe this one will be more not so archaeological. That makes a lot of sense, and I think they'll actually complement each other, hopefully, really well. So yeah, I'm really excited to read that one. And lastly, this one's kind of like a history book and like kind of a travelogue mixed together. I find nature memoirs kind of work really well. Nature books work really good, kind of like the memoir plus like all the nature stuff. And this is kind of naturey, but it's actually a little bit more on the physical sciences rather than the biological ones. And it is Jules, A Secret History by Victoria Finlay. Also, I'm pretty much trash for, the hidden life of, or the secret history of, like, a certain topic. I don't know, nature books really go into that for some reason. Probably because it sells, because there are people like me that are just like, oh, I just gotta, like, find out about it. But since, obviously, it's about Jules, it's all about, like, she goes into, like, different emerald mines, kind of, like, goes on the Silk Roads, to, like, discover, like, kind of, where sapphires came and went, things like that. Like, there's I know there's that town in the middle of Australia or whatever, that's, like, mostly underground because of the opals or something. I remember, like, when I was, like, doing my little vetting of the books, I saw that one was mentioned, so I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, it's gonna be a kind of all the different gemstones and precious minerals and things, kind of their history and lore and stuff. And she kind of travels around the world, like searching for like, just the hidden secrets of all that kind of stuff. And it's a topic I don't think I've ever really specifically read about. Obviously, you hear about gems and stuff and like hoards and whatnot. But I guess I've never like learned about the gems themselves and kind of like, I guess, these specific locations, like where they were like, just a major factor in kind of like the culture and the history and whatnot. So that one looks really cool to me as well. So there you have it. Those are 3 books. Hopefully I get to at least one sometime this month, after they come out in this month of January. So yeah, let me know if these 3 sound interesting to you, or which one sounds the most interesting. And if you have a book that you're excited that's coming out in the near future, leave it down below so I can check it out as well. Thank you so much for watching this far. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of cool stuff. Best way to support the channel, definitely check out the Etsy shop, help me out in the algorithms there, everything like that. And whatever you end up reading in this month of January, always remember, read victoriously.